Yo, what's happening, guys? Yeah, this is Reverie, and I'm going to give you a little rundown of my latest release, I Can't Breathe. It's out on 170. Apologies, I don't have a camera for you to see my ugly mutt, but yeah, the webcam that I did have that I found deep underneath the underneath my wires is just old as shit. So, right. So yeah, if you haven't heard the track, it sounds like this.
I can't breathe like this, no. Suffocating me slow. I'm sinking underneath your love, but I can't get enough. I can't breathe. I can't breathe.
Right, yeah. So, like I said earlier, there's some lot of tracks that, like my leads, for instance, they're all frozen down in Ableton. You can freeze the track to save up CPU because it just munches at my little laptop. I'm only producing on a laptop at the moment. The laptop is a Scan 3SX. Would highly recommend. I bought just before I went for my travels in Australia, and yes, it's just been really good. I had to replace the fan though because the heat in Australia just melted it where I was using it so much. But yeah, they are a really good bit of kit. Right, let's have a look at. We're going to start off with the vocal section. So yeah, in my track here, you can see on the right, I've got my groups, effects, guitar and harp, leads, drums. It's always good to be fair. I did tidy it up a tad before I started this, but I work really messy when I get creative, and then I have to spend like another few hours cleaning the project up. Right, so the vocal is just one from Splice, but I chopped it up. So the original vocal just sounded like this.
I can't breathe. Ooh, I can't breathe like this, no. Ooh, suffocating me slow. I'm sinking underneath your love, but I can't get enough of you. Ooh, I can't breathe.
So yeah, so for me, I wasn't really a massive fan of all the oohs, the U sections, so I kind of just took out the parts that I liked, and yeah, just piled them together to get my own vocal, which sounds like this.
I can't breathe like this, no. Suffocating me slow.
Cool. So I haven't done not too much. There's quite a bit of vocal reverb on here, so I've got a bit of black hole on there that gives
I can't breathe like this, no.
Dry. I've got one on the group.
Suffocating me slow.
Some reverb on there. I've also got it sends through some reverb, so it's flooded with quite a bit. Sometimes the reverb just sounded good with those elements all in there. It really filled the space for me. So yeah, that's a Black Hole Arts acoustic. And then down on my Sends channel, I've got another Arts acoustic. I think it's quite important to set up your favourite Sends. I did a course during lockdown, like a 6-part course, which I'll throw at the end of this video, and it covers everything really that I can cover in a short space of time in this video. But yeah, having some Sends that you can quickly throw some stuff on and just feel how the reverb takes up the space, etc. is really handy. Yeah, so I chopped this little vocal up here. It's from the same pack, I think. It's Cara. Yeah, it's Cara. She's really good on Splice. It's really hard to find one that no one's used, but yeah, I come across this one. This didn't seem to have anyone. I hadn't heard anyone use it anyway, not in hard dance. So this is just a real reverbed out. I guess I put a black hole again on it, pretty much mix 85, so it's really caned. That without it just really brings in that. So I kind of like have it on like you can hear there, it's almost on the half beat, so it's like gives that half time kind of feel, because I really enjoyed bringing up in that garage loop. I can show you that in a second. But so yeah, you can hear that again. When I take it out, you can hear it. Filters up here. Cool chords as well, but on the dance floor that kind of gives it just a little bit of movement. And we say dance floor, there is no dance floors anymore. So in your living room, that gives it, during a live stream, that gives it all the energy it needs. What else have we got here? And so we've got another little choppy thing that I like using. That's it. So you also, what you'll see me use quite a lot is an easy filter. There's loads of different filters, but I don't know, I just really like the bass clef easy filter. It comes in a bass clef is really cool. You can head to his website and grab his things for Ableton. They are actually really, really good. So, well, I'll be a bit in audio effects. So, yeah, it's just so it does a high pass and a low pass. He's got tons of others in there. They're all, I think they're all free at the time I got them. I'm not sure if he charges a price now, but even if they're a minimal price, they're really good. They don't take up any, CPU. Just like Ableton stock, it's just built around stock plugins. But I like that you could do a high pass and a low pass all within one filter, and it's just 2 knobs. It doesn't get too messy. So yeah, I would recommend. So again, you can see on here I'm sending some of that through to the sends, a bit of a delay as well.
I can't breathe like this, no.
Cool. After so I like to do some delay, what I call like delay throws. So I will copy that last word so it really fills out the space.
No.
I'll throw a H delay on there, whack the dry wet completely up, so you can place it exactly in the same place as the other one. You won't hear that. You'll just hear the delay.
No. Suffocating.
So yeah, that's a really nice touch that I like to do in these airy vocals,
This suffocate.
And some reverse vocals. So yeah, if you're not sure how they're done, I mean, I cover that kind of thing again in my tutorials. So yeah, if you're interested in having a look deeper into how I create these little effects, then yeah, by all means drop me a message, and hopefully we can sort something out there. But yeah, that's a basic reverse reverb taken from the actual Krista. I'll say this one's Krista, isn't it? So that's Krista Young, sorry. And the other one is Cara. So they're from 2 different packs. Sorry, my bad. I think I wrote the track and then just went on Splice, played over the top. These ones stuck out, or that one stuck out quite well, and I really just got creative with it after that. So
Can't breathe like this, no. Suffocate.
So the last one is what
I can't breathe.
what I did. I think I put on there is I think I pitched it down. Yeah, I think I may have pitched it down because that's the same original vocal, but I just wanted her to sing "I can't breathe, I can't breathe. But obviously she doesn't sing that in the vocal, so I kind of
I can't breathe.
pitched it down.
I can't breathe.
So if we go into the clip, transposition, I think you might see it here. Yeah, you can see it there. I've pitched it down, so.
I can't breathe.
So obviously if I want to pitch it.
I can't breathe.
So it's quite cool there too.
I can't breathe.
Anything more would have sounded a little bit artificial. Now, obviously, when I listen back to that, I can really hear that it's pitched because I knew I did it, and now all of you know. So, so you'll definitely hear it. But yeah, I think it was just nicer ending on that note with the chords that I had. Yeah, I think that's kind of it really for the vocals. Just like say smothered in reverb. We have a look at the verse. So in the verse, we got like these. Let's have a listen here. Cool, so we've got a silent doing a pluck. Nothing too crazy here. Bit of reverb on it. I like to use OTT. These things are being used. Some mid-side compression, mid-side EQ. Nothing too much. Like I don't know if you got. I'm sure a lot of you do know, but I'm more of a musician at heart. So when I played these chords in, I would play them on my piano and then transpose them into the actual track. So it is a little bit easier for me doing it like that. I know some people write all the notes in, which for me is insane. I mean, it's complete opposite to how I do. So yeah, so I would have written those chords, I guess, just one evening, just kind of like all threw it together. Kind of put like a nice piano over the top. So that's really nice on that area. I think I've just used the Ableton stock piano there. It's actually really a nice piano, especially for like dance music. I wouldn't tend to use it solely on its own for a really melancholy piano piece, but for what I needed here and for what I need in most cases, it's really good. Ableton stock. Not sure what's pan 14 left. Probably a reason. Some of the things I do are insane and stupid, but it sounds good. It must have sounded good at the time. What have we got here? Okay, so that's another silent, another little pluck. Cool. So what I've done here on the effect rack, if you see, so I wanted the front edge of the pluck to come through. As you can see, I recorded it in, and I recorded it a little bit messy, which I like because it just has that natural sound. So let me just turn that automation off. Yeah, so you can see that they're slightly off put, but that's exactly how I played it in, and I didn't bother tightening it up or quantizing it because I just love that. I like the feel of it, sounding more natural. So here in the effect rack, I've got Black Hole, which is again with the reverb, and an Echo Boy. I've got a compressor, which is compressing the channel itself. So that hits at first. Without it, that hits at first. It side chains it, so you really hear the front end of that pluck. Without it, it's more so much when these two hit, the delay and the reverb really ducks down. Yeah, so those subtle little things just give those effects way more space in the mix. And I've got some more sends there. What have we got here? So that's another soft layer that's going over those plucks. Super quiet in the mix. And then with this. Cool, so it's a nice little musical element, my favourite parts. This is the same kind of thing that I've done with the vocal, but I reversed the pluck and kind of reverb in. It just gives a nice little element. I really enjoy doing these. If you hear a lot of my productions, introducing something with a reverse reverb or its own sound coming in, it sounds quite. Okay, so we've got like a saw bass here. Here I've got just a silent. I want to go for like a Reese one, but I didn't want one too wide because I got a lot of wide signal going on. So I wanted something thick there. Although that is quite wide actually. So probably ignore what I'm saying. Yeah, that's the top layer. I've taken out all the bottom there in room for the sub. So the sub really gives it a bit of. Yeah, that's it again, just another silent sub. Just give that a bit of OTT and some compression. Yeah, a good idea, or a definite idea, when you're doing sub levels, always have them mono. Okay, so in utility, I can't remember who I watched it. I think it may have been a Kashmir a video on YouTube, and he explains, about how to make things true mono. And he said you're best off hitting your left or your right rather than actually pulling that in and taking it to mono. You get phase issues. So yeah, I try not to do that. If I want something mono, I'll hit the left or right signal and that sticks it to mono. So it's a cool tip for your subs. What have we got here? And that's an up that I didn't use, so I don't know why it's in there. Let's delete it. A couple more tricks that I did in the vocals, sorry, to go back. Just some little chops again, just to introduce like the next part of the vocal. So you can hear like this chop and you can see the automation going from left to right. So it's just taking that first bit of the vocal there. Let's just get rid of these sends, sorry. So something really subtle, but something like that, just bringing that vocal in, it just works for me so much better, to be honest, than just the vocal coming straight in. So I'm sinking underneath your love, but I can't get enough. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. Cool. Right, let's have a look at this beat that I loved as soon as I put it in. Now, there was lots of different versions of this song. The first version that I put in had the drums doing like a swing feel, and it just didn't quite fit the feeling. I really liked it. Showed it a few other people, and it was just like, I think it was just a little bit too tricky. Anything over 130, 140 BPM, the swing really just does get a bit messy. So this is, what loop are we here? 2 Saga. So what have we got? Beadle, Jeremy Beadle kicker. No kicks there, so that's not the one. So you can hear how the swing is, which I quite liked, but when I put it into the track, it didn't quite work. So what I like doing with these loops, I'll see if I can show you it again. It's a much more precise way. So if I throw that loop in, what I do instead of warping it from 130 because you just get the artifacts that don't sound great, I'll drop my track down to 130. I do keep the warp on, but it's at 130, so that's perfect in time. What I do is I right click and I will slice to MIDI track. We use the built-in ones. Okay, and then underneath we've got the same. It's the same loop there, just sliced up, which you can see, which is what I've done above, and then we bang it back into our tempo that we want. So you can hear how the samples are just so much cleaner like that than if you use this one that's sped up. You can hear the artifacts in there, it just doesn't sound true. Some of the hits sound a bit weak. So yeah, that's my tip for if you're using loops, to drop your main project down to that speed and get them chopped up. Let's delete that, and I can delete the other one too. So yeah, you can hear there it was all chopped up. So once you're in here, you can go inside and you can tighten all the parts up. You've got each separate one. Then I believe that's it. That's the send. It's a short side. So yeah, I've whacked this through a real short, like super short decay Arts Acoustic. I could have put it on the loop. I'm not sure if I used it on somewhere else. Sometimes I like to use sends, and then I can use it on another synth a bit later, or you could have just put it on the actual track itself, but either or. So yeah, this is so this is two together. That's it without it. So you can hear. And we add that back in. Just gives that nice. We've also got some hats there as well, which has got quite a lot of low in. Probably wouldn't need that much low, to be honest. But just a little bit less movement. Like what you say, I mean, when we make hard dance music, if there's a big break, you really want to try and get some kind of movement in there. So it's not as boring on the dance floor. All the blue section are my effects, my whooshes, not too much. I did like to add this jungle noise, which I think is quite cool. I want to try and add some elements like this into every one of my tracks. This is just so I've really pushed the tops there as well. So yeah, it's just I can't remember where it's from a Cashmere pack. There you go. Just some ambience in the background, so barely even hear it, but without it, it doesn't make a difference to me anyway.
I can't breathe like this, no.
Yeah, I really like that. That's cool in there. Did I put that? A breath effect in. That could have been in the vocals, to be honest. But yeah, I Can't Breathe. Obviously, looked for a Cashmere breath pack. Came with Cashmere packs on this one. It's just quite nice. This is quite cool. That's pretty much it for the verse, apart from the real guitar I put in. So I play guitar, so it's a lot easier for me to just record something in like this. It's just a little guitar that I recorded into, so that's DI. I would use an Ibanez Gem, and I just put that straight DI into Guitar Rig. And what have we got here? What does it say? The assemble 800 clean. So Guitar Rig is actually really good. I tend to I don't have a great guitar amp now, so even if I'm playing guitar, I will DI my guitar straight into the laptop and straight back out with this, and yeah, it sounds amazing. Some of the built-in things, I'm a really big fan of the 80s solo, but yeah, there's so much on there. So guitar rig, yeah, definitely a winner if you're recording guitar. Again, that's another little rhythmic element to bring into that drum beat.
I can't breathe like this, no. Suffocating me slow.
Okay, right, so then we're going to look at the leads. So I've got some reverse leads here. Again, exactly the same way as what you would do a
I can't breathe.
So here we've got a big reverse lead, so you record the reverb in. This is quite a cool trick that I like to do with leads like this, so you can hear the automation of the auto pan, which is quite cool. So what I would do is set the phase rather than actually panning left and right, which sounds quite cool too. But I think when it's panned left and right, you're bringing in a lot of stereo information just before the huge wide leads come in. So I really like to have that right down the middle, and then the leads come in and it sounds big and wide. So yeah, which is quite cool. There's that there, and then I also recorded them the leads tape stopping. I used Glitch for that. Glitch with a normal tape stop. It's not on there at the moment, but I recorded that into audio and then just reversed it. So that let's see if we can reverse that there. You hear the so that's all it is. But a little trick, just going into it in just before the leads can really sound, I don't know, it sounds really cool, like they're just lifting up right in front of you, just there. So you know what I mean? It's almost like a guitarist element, because when I play my notes, I'll always slide into it with the guitar, you know. So okay, what have we got on here? So the leads are in a group. Okay, so on the leads, I've got them in a group. We have got some Arts Acoustic on there, a Fab filter just to bring it up and down, track spaces. These are for later on. I tend to probably be better to bring the track spaces towards the end. I'll explain what they do in a minute. The glitch is on there, but that's literally just to do those tiny tricks. So Arts Acoustic with like I think it's a Code Black reverb that was out on the Code Black producers group. So yeah, if you haven't gone over to there, head over to there and you can pick up some cool little bits from that group. I think that was a Code Black reverb. He's done some for some other patches too. I think maybe Echo Boy as well. I've done one which is quite cool. But yeah, I'd stick that on and then I'll play around with it until it suits the fancy. Not too many layers in this one, to be honest. So we've got like a top lead, which is like really soary. Then we've got a mid lead, which is like thick. A nice one lead, a harmony in there. So the harmony, I try not to do anything too soary or anything, because that's taken up by these two layers. And then one more, which is the chords. So for all these, I did use Silent. I have synced this track. I've got a virus here that I'm borrowing for the moment. So I do tend to be playing around with that more often for leads. But yeah, Silent is a pretty go-to synth to get some big leads. So again, it's a bit easier for me knowing this because I know my knowledge on chords. I wrote the chord structure. The lead was actually completely different for about a month or two, and then I just knew something wasn't quite right with it, so I kind of scrapped it all, rewrote the chords, and come up with that. I don't think I have an earlier version to show you. If I do find one, I'll put it at the end of this video. When all of that comes in, we've just got a crash hitting. So crash, probably what have we got here? Yeah, a downfall, like a downwash in the effects. Not too loud because a lot of the high notes are being taken up by the lead itself. And then in our verse, we've got the bass. So it's the same bass that I've used in the verse, just to tie it all together. They're just doing like the root notes of the chord, but hitting at the exact same time as the lead. So the way I would do this is maybe write the lead in, copy and paste that, and then just change the notes to the root notes so you can hear they're hitting the exact same notes. So the exact same note lengths, so they're not actually hitting in the same place. But yeah, I've added some slides to that bass as well. That's just bringing the portamento up quite a tad, just because it brings a little bit more. Again, that real human playing. When I play the bass guitar, I want to slide up and down between the notes. So I think it makes the track feel less static and more emotional. So yeah, that's them. Just the front end of the kick there dropping in. Effects in here rising up. So what I tend to do is use effects. I like to, you see right at the end, I bring it right down just to cut everything off, to bring that kind of. I think I've got drop fill in here, so this fill is just a couple of the snares which are really cool. It's just got that really thick. And then we got so as you can see down here, I like to automate a lot of my sends. So when I'm sending stuff to reverb, you can see I send a lot to the similar reverbs when they're not being all used. And what I like to do just before the stops to tighten things up is just automate my reverb so you can hear the reverb on and then it stops straight away. So just to show you, if I show you the reverbs down here, so it can be a little bit fiddly, but it's just a case of sometimes just copy and pasting. So just to turn something on and off, all I do is just turn the channel on and off. That's simply it. So I do that for, I'd say all of them, but one of them stayed on there. But so. Okay, so you have a look at the kick and bass then. Oh yeah, so also in those leads, what I've done in there, so they will have a track spacer on for the kick. So the signal that comes in through the main kick will come through this track spacer. And just take the bottom end of those leads out if there is any, and I've also added one for the main bass. This is on the lead channel. So how the track spacer works, you would send the signal that you want to be that you want to shine through. You put that onto the plugin, onto the VST channel that you want it to duck out from. So in this case, I had my leads. When it drops, I want the kick and the off bass to really spark through. So I've put 2 track spacers on, one with the kick, one with the off bass, so you can hear it's. So that frequency is being ducked down out of the leads. You can really hear without it that the bass is getting the bass in the middle of the leads right in the middle, just clashing with each other. So yeah, Track Spacer is such a good plugin for finding space in the mix for when you've got so much going on. Right. Okay, this kick is a kick that I had last year that I made, 2019 kick mixed with another kick from a pack. A lot of people tend to use like kick 2 or other kick making VSTs. Personally, I much prefer finding some samples that I really like the sound of, throwing them in here, manipulating them, pitching them, finding the front and back. Again, building kicks is on the start of my Reverie production course. If you're interested, hit me up for that again. But I've talked a bit more in depth of it. But yeah, that's just, I haven't even bounced this one down. Sometimes I bounce it down, sometimes I tend to make them, and then the next day I'll listen, and sometimes my ears have adapted and it's gone a bit too bass heavy, so I would have to move where this one is, you know, or change it back. I mean, right there it's perfect. So the 2 kicks consist of so we've got that nice top punchy one. And then on the back, we've got the one with the weight, which coincidentally has a really rubbish front. Doesn't sound good, so I'm going to put those 2 back together. We've got a nice solid UK hardcore kick. Then we've got the sub bass. Okay, so you can see here that the sub bass is actually playing way before the off bass. The reason I like to do this is just to get that side chain sucking kind of feel to it, rather than just a solid off bass. I've used a shaper box. What I tend to do as well in all my tracks before I even start is just set up triggers up the top. You can see that this trigger 2 is an external instrument, and I can send any one of these. You can see that I've got them sent to loads of returns, the leads, chorded leads. I can actually send them to the returns, so that's sent to the reverb, the delay. So this is the one for the sub. It's just really straightforward. Like if I wanted to just then duplicate this just to let it trigger a different plugin, I can literally control. I say I can control D. It'll bring that up. I can select a new channel and put a shaper box on that, and it's just as simple as triggering that. Now, obviously this triggers, so it would only trigger the first MIDI that's in there. So this is just the kick, basically on the beat kick MIDI. So I believe I've got one on the kick as well. Yeah, so I've got one on the kick too, so that just brings it down, just to bring that tail end off. Around about there, yeah. So then you can see on the other one that all the sub was coming in this way. This that's it. So that's the kick and sub. All right, and then obviously, so the actual sub is just a silent one. Okay, so it's an ultra sub. And then it's going through a distortion, which gives it a bit of character, to be honest. And then we take all the tops off and give it a compressor. So yeah, I think putting your sub bass through an amplifier really does bring out these different harmonics, and then you can just bring the EQing down, so you just get all those harmonics within the low end weight. There's different ways of doing it. On other tracks I've actually used 808 samples and stuff like that, but this one I like because if I use a synth where I'm using such a musically based song, the notes are skipping up and down, so it's just nicer to be able to just play them without repitching samples all the time. But okay, let's have a look. So our bass. Now, see, when I opened this at the start of the track, I did actually think it was just really weird for me to do this, because I don't tend to do this, but then by saying that, it's a complete lie, because I have done it. So I've put a wide bass on here. I don't know why. I guess the mix sounded like it needed some width when it dropped. It's not too loud, but I don't really tend to. I would keep my basses more mono. You can see this one again, left. This is the main off bass, but this is a wider one, which is not doing much at all, to be honest. It's just filling in those frequencies that I thought were missing from the track, and just doing what my ears told me to do, basically. Didn't overthink it, I guess. That's why now I'm looking at it, I'm like, why would you do that? But clearly worked. So this main off bass, I've actually had to replace the original sample because I sent this laptop off for fixing. I came back and I did loads of updates. I didn't have it for like 3 months. I wasn't sure even if I get it back, so it's a touchy subject. I was quite worried. But it's come back fine, but there was some issues loading things up. I think I replaced the new Nimble kick. It just didn't remember what the original bass is. Now, but if you haven't heard of Nimble kick, it's a really good piece of software. You could just throw your hardstyle kicks in. If you make kicks, you can throw your kick in and it will pitch it to any key. So this is the kick that's in there. No, it's not. Don't know why we're not coming out there. Let's go to so it's good. So there was a way that I used to be able to do this in Contact, but this is just so much easier, so much handier. It's just really easy to use. I really got on with it. What I do like about it is if you can be creative. If you've got a bunch of hardstyle kicks, you can kind of like just drop another kick in whilst it's playing and see if you like the sound of it. Let's have a look what we've got on here. So I'm guessing I would have swept out all the low ends, pushed up here. Like I said, the sample is a little bit different to the original one I used. It doesn't show me which one it is. I've got tons of hardstyle kicks, so I didn't want to search through, so I just threw one in that sounded pretty similar. So again, the EQ might be a little bit off here. But the main idea is to sweep that bottom end out because you've got the sub down there. You don't need that bottom end. Something around here, something around the 150, it just gives a little bit of low end, 160 there. So right up the neck so you can hear it. That's too much. So again, just instead of turning that off bass up to try and creep it through, what I did, explained earlier, is put a track spacer on the leads, and the leads duck to just bring that off bass coming through. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. So kind of just 3 layers. The wide one. Yeah, don't always have to have it. To be honest, I would recommend more of the leads doing the wide bit, but it's just that lower frequency that it's filling in. And again, the track sounded like it needs it, so needed it. What else we got here? So we've got a cool little fill. So you can hear that I kind of I've pitched, used the glitch again on these. They're closed, so I can't really show you, but yeah. So yeah, just glitch that down, little tricks again, just to make it a little bit more interesting. Little things like this end up taking about 3 or 4 hours to actually get right. But when you get it right, it's rewarding. What have I got on here? I think I've actually got like a white noise thing as well. Just kind of repeating, just to fill in the area. So yeah, so right, I want to push the ride a little bit right, the off hat a little bit left. It's not really super loud, but it just gives a bit of movement. Didn't feel like the song needed an on-beat snare, to be honest. It doesn't feel like it's lacking too much there. So. Back in, you hear the drum coming in. It's got quite a good synth place down here that I really liked. Yeah, I really like this. So yeah, this is just a serum patch that I came across that I was just like, yeah, I would really like to. I don't know, just had like this cool kind of. You put it like synthy drum and bass kind of feel as well. It's something different again. I really like trying to make my tracks unique, a little bit more unique rather than the same all the time. So, but it means that I've got no unique sound apart from being unique every track.
I can't breathe like this, no. Suffocating me slow. I'm sinking underneath your love, but I can't get enough. I can't breathe. I can't breathe.
So yeah, so here I did use. I found a good part to use the. Because for me it was the least favourite part of the vocal. There's something about it I didn't really like. But I did this bridge section. I played the guitar solo in. At first I kept that in, showed a few people, and the next few times I played it back I wasn't too sure on it, so I took it out. But yeah, I could hear people singing it back. My missus especially, she would just after the guitar solo she would sing that back, and I was just like, right, that needs to be in there really, because it's quite a catchy, cool thing. But yeah, the guitar solo again, just DI, straight into guitar rig, hardly anything at all. Just brought the width in from a utility. We're on 800, so 800 clean again. Obviously, there's a lot of sends on this, so we're using. So it's pushed on the Arts Acoustic, the delay, another delay. One of my delays are mono, one of the delays are stereo. Yeah, just like smothered it in cool effects really, just to really give that huge ambient feeling. So you'll hear what guitar rig does it if I take that off. That was not even a very good recording, so Yeah, so that guitar solo really just gives, it doesn't give it much, it's even on a clean setting, but just does amazing things, this guitar rig.
I can't breathe.
Which you'll hear all the way through the song, which is the continuous arp. So it's just a silent pluck again. Should have called this track Silent because I've used it so many times. Another pluck. It's just what I tend to do as well on here is use the Arpeggiator. I'm not sure if people use that. I find it really good to get a feel on how, finding an arp for your synth. So that's just me. Without the arpeggiator on, I'll play a chord. This is only playing one note at a time anyway, so. But you turn the arpeggiator on, I play a chord with my keyboard no matter how many notes, and it'll. Which I think is absolutely awesome. And then straight away, that's a lovely chord. I'm really hoping that I can remember that and record it in for my next track. But yeah, so then I tend to turn it off after I've done that, and then draw in the notes myself. I just feel I get a bit more. I just feel I got more control over the synth doing that than just held on there. But it's really good for sparking ideas. So yeah, I highly recommend using your arpeggiator if you're on Ableton. So again, we can hear that here. I automate the volume up and down. Get yourself a soft kick for the build up. Nothing too mad, just another cashmere. Monoed again. My kicks, I want it to be mono. That's just something nice and soft to keep that bass riding. I mean that you don't think it's but it just has such a like this, no. What else have we got here? Possibly, so we got some tom loops and some claps. It says mono clap, but it's not mono at all, so ignore that. It's just a normal clap. Snare roll, I tend to use Impulse. Really like Impulse for my snare stuff. Again, I go in so much in depth in my course. So if you're really interested in knowing some more, then yeah, drop me a message. I'll leave some info at the end of this video again on how you can get hold of me and hook you up. But yeah, this is what I use for my snare drums. I really like Impulse. You can bring the pitch up. You can bring the decay of everything down. Automate it all, and it sounds really nice. Yeah, not a lot of people know or use Impulse, but I really like it for my snare rolls especially. If you got I like to load a few snares in, and we could say, throughout the song, if you're not really feeling that snare, you could just move it up and try a different snare. yeah, I think that's pretty much it. So yeah, I mean, we can have a look on each one of my leads here. I know they are frozen, so I mean, let me unfreeze one. We might get some real nasty glitches here, but so I've got a silent from this. What I tend to do on each one of my leads, I use an isotope trash and just throw a simple clip control on there. Doesn't even need to be too much. Depending on each layer, some of them might be harder than the others. An EQ, cut that bottom end off. A simple one, that's a filter, bringing it up and down. Then what I've got on here is the black hole with the lead sidechain compressing itself. And then the classic multi-band compressor, Dance Master 3, if you're interested. That is thrown on there quite heavily, 64. I guess that's what worked on this track. Then another EQ to just pull all that bottom out. So this is like a mid lead, so I pushed it there. The others corresponding, so the top lead was probably pushed in higher, dropped in that mid, just to make room for each other. Like I said, I won't unfreeze all of them because we're just going to get awful sounds. We'll leave that for now, actually. But yeah, I think that is everything really covered, to be honest. Oh, there's a nifty little trick that I did in this last. Yeah, I really wanted to be adventurous and try something. Yeah, just cool sounding to split the track up. So here I've added just a simple serum. It's not even what I think. What gives more of the effect to what it's doing is being able to drop everything else out. So if you watch my sends here, all of the reverb, all of the delay, the leads all automate to be turned off. So you can see the group there is turned off. Yeah, so yeah, it's all loads of reverb, loads of delay, and then suddenly switched off, and you've just got almost this dry pad that just comes in. So I did bring the envelope up. There's a few different. There's a reverb that I bring up on there. So yeah, that is what I'd like to call, like, it's just a real cool effect to add on the end of the track to make it a little bit different. But again, you just drop everything out, makes room for it, and it just punches through the mix. Yeah, one more thing at the end. I've added, you can barely even hear it, but it does have that effect in there. So I've added that I can't breathe. So she's just saying breathe repeatedly, but I've added a vocoder to it. So I use a serum. I hit that to sends only, so we're not getting any sound out of the serum, but you can see it. You'll see it coming in here, but we're getting no sound out, and we're sending that directly to the vocoder on here. If you don't know how to do that, it's another video. I can show you here. You just click the carrier, external, and then you pick it from the vocoder synth. So the serum for this answer. All I've done is dropped in the chorded lead MIDI, so it just copies it, and it just really emphasizes. Cool, that's got like a clip distortion on there, DS, a couple of compressors. Yeah, that's quite a cool touch. Like you say, it's really low down in the mix, but I think it does make a bit of a difference. So we hear it without it. Cool. cool. And then the other things, the only other sound in there really are just some dubstep, like Vengeance dubstep sounds. That another cool little feel to. Again, so you hear it. Okay, cool. Right, I think that's pretty much it. So if there's anything else that I've missed, or if there's anything else that you guys are intrigued about, please drop a message at the bottom of this video, leave a comment and a share. And if you're interested in more of these, let me know as well, because I was thinking of doing, you know, how well this goes, doing one for Wake Up and then the ones for my tracks continually moving forward. Drop me a subscribe on my YouTube channel, and yeah, cool. I'll see you soon, guys. Cheers.